you to imagine in the future that you and your partner are expecting a baby and you're so excited. Shortly, around halfway through, you find out that you're having a little girl. And then a couple weeks later, you go into preterm labor, and sadly, your baby doesn't make it. The Mayo Clinic defines preterm birth or preterm labor or prematurity as a baby being born 3 or more weeks before the due date. Many times this can involve things with genetics or completely unexplained. And beyond that, children who die before their first year of age can also suffer from genetic conditions, things incompatible with life, or even die from sudden infant death syndrome. So you're in this state and you have a funeral to plan, and your baby is so small that you can't find any clothes for her anywhere. Many of you will be affected by this, whether it's directly or indirectly. I'm a mother, but I have many friends who have suffered this kind of loss or even had premature children that had to spend a large amount of time in the neonatal intensive care unit at a hospital, or otherwise known as a NICU. So to begin, I'm here to talk about donating to newborns in need and why this organization needs your support. So last week, I interviewed Lori Wade, who is the president of the East Tennessee chapter of Newborns in Need. She told me that the way that this organization got started was that a woman who was in a quilting group read an article about how infants that passed, were stillborn or something of that sort, were buried in paper bags. They were disposed of as medical waste, and she wanted to change that. And so in 1992, she started Newborns in Need. And quickly, this spread all across the country. And in Knoxville, we have our own chapter of it here. Millions of people are affected directly or indirectly by this sort of loss. If we filled Neyland Stadium with pregnant women, 12,806 of those children would be born premature, and 30 of them would die before their first birthday. I calculated this from last year's CDC report. So, because of this, many organizations have been started to help these families. East Tennessee Newborns in Need helps hundreds of families every year all over East Tennessee. They supply things such as hats, bibs, socks, hair bows, blankets, burial cocoons and dresses, and other items. Many of these children only weigh 1 pound and can be the size of a grapefruit. They're tiny. So Newborns in Need, they help those families, but they also have extended support to low-income families, supplying things like socks, blankets, bibs, and things like that. So now that you know about the need for donations for Newborns in Need, I want to propose what we can do about it. What do I mean by donations? Well, if you have some sort of craft skill like sewing, crochet, or knitting, that's great. You can donate that way. But if you don't, you can also supply yarn, fabric, or other monetary donations. Now, I know that being a student is hard financially, but a ball of yarn costs maybe $2, and fabric can cost $3 or $4 for a yard of it. You can get these things at A.C. Moore, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, and many Walmarts even carry craft supplies. So donation drop-offs are all around Knoxville, and then I would also be happy to take them myself. I'll give you a little more information on that upcoming. So after receiving a donation of yarn or fabric or something like that, we handcraft everything. So here's just a short video that I made for you guys of a half double crochet stitch. And it's a little bit pixelated for some reason, but so I just draw through the loops and then all the way through the rest. And then I speed up a little bit. And the great thing about this is it helps the families know that every stitch is made with love. Somebody hand makes everything that is donated. So a little bit more here. It's pretty interesting. I really love to crochet, so doing something like this for a family that needs it is great. So now that you know a little bit about how donations work, I want to share with you the benefits of donating to newborns in need. So like I said before, all items are handmade. This first picture is a burial cocoon that I made for a family who lost their daughter at 2 weeks old. She was down inside of it, and the little hat was placed on her head, and that was actually in her casket with her. And then the second one are a bunch of baby bibs that I made, and these were distributed to low-income families. So, not only do the families benefit from these kinds of wonderful donations, knowing the kind of gift that you gave to a family that's suffering from, taking care of a sick child or one that has passed away too soon can make you feel a great deal of happiness and warmth. A 2013 article from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology said that you can experience more happiness when you spend money on people other than yourself. And in a 2014 article from the Journal of Psychotherapy Integration states that those positive emotions encourages individuals to overcome negative experiences and give cognitive skills to do it. The families are so grateful. The burial cocoon that I made, the mother actually sent me a thank you. It was very short because, of course, she was going through a really hard time. But she told me that she just didn't have the words to explain what that kind of gift meant to her and her family at such a hard time. And that's not uncommon. Most of the families that are recipients of these donations are so deeply thankful and deeply grateful for the kind of gifts that you can give. So we talked about the need for donations. We talked about how they work, the benefits that the families get and you can get from donating to newborns in need. And now it's your turn to take action. I'm encouraging you to go pick out some yarn or fabric from, one of these craft stores. They're not hard to find. They're all over Knoxville. And many of the places, such as Joann's, you can actually buy it and then leave it there. These are the places to donate. And then, obviously, Joann Fabric is down in Cedar Bluff. If you don't know where that is, that's the address, and Google Maps is great. Bohemian Baby is a little baby boutique store there at the corner of Kingston Pike and Paper Mill. And then, of course, I'll always be happy to take them too. I can also send out an email, if you want a little bit more information on getting involved, and I'd be happy to teach people how to crochet or sew. It's one of my favorite things to do. So, to wrap everything up, I want to remind you that, the heartbreaking story about losing your little girl that I talked about at the beginning, this is a reality for over 500,000 families every year. And so, it might not be you that's directly impacted, but you'll probably know someone in the future that is impacted by this kind of loss, or someone who has a premature child. It's something that's unfortunately very common. So it's very important that you understand that your donation to an organization such as Newborns in Need can be so beneficial. And after all, you might even be receiving donations from them someday.